So guys, welcome to a new video. Thank you for watching. We're going to do a optical stabilisation test and a bit of a focus test at the same time in my garden. So I'll give you a real world examples of optical stabiliser, Sigma call it, on this lens, the 600mm zoom, 150 to 600. And also the vibration compensation that Tamron call it, their optical stabiliser as well. We're going to have a look at both of them on a full frame camera, EOS R, which is a 30 megapixel camera, and we will be having a look at optical stabiliser, how it works in hand as well as on a tripod, and obviously that's full frame. Now I will bring another video to you tomorrow which will be APS-C, which will be the 90D, corresponding increase in focal length of 1.6 times. So at the long end, 600mm, you're going to get 960mm. So obviously it's more intense on APS-C cameras because their pixels, the pixel density is a lot smaller and it's more focused in the center of the lens. Fortunately, these lenses are quite sharp in the center. We'll be looking at image quality later on, but I just want to compare stabilization so you guys can see in a real world examples video how the stabilizer works on both of these lenses. At the moment I haven't configured the stabilizers or updated firmware using the docks or the tap as Tamron call it. It's a USB device you can plug into your computer, you can put it on the top of your lens and configure it and update it without having to send it back to a factory. We'll be looking at that at a later point in a different video, but this video is just to tell you about the what we're doing now. So let's have a look at the examples and I'll see you in the next video. Here is the Sigma 150 to 600 contemporary lens. We're at 150mm. We're going to be testing the image stabilization. So let's just have a look how it does. Moving across, moving back, coming down, and that's the image stabilization at 150mm. And it's doing a good job on the EOS R full frame. Okay, 150mm on the Tamron G2 lens. We're going to be testing the autofocus and the stabilization to see how it does. 150mm seems to be doing okay. I'm just testing the focus. And we're also testing the stabilization. Test on the EOS R. And it's doing a good job, the image stabilization. Now, we're probably about 8 meters away, I would have thought. And we're just testing the focus on this lens. Focus is doing reasonably well in daylight. And we're just testing the quality of how it's performing. I'm using the viewfinder against my head for extra stability, but we seem to be doing a good job. And it's quite steady. Right. This is the image stabilization on the Sigma contemporary lens at 300mm on the EOS R. Full frame. Let's just see how it does. Moving across. Moving across. Coming down. I'm using the focus button to keep it in focus. Pulling focus. It's doing quite a good job. Now I am comparing this to the previous test that I've done. I will link that in the description box. But this is a contemporary at 300mm image stabilization test. I'm just trying to see how we're doing. It is getting a bit heavy, this lens, after a while, but we're just testing it. Okay, stabilization test at 300mm on the Tamron G2 lens. We're testing focus and also the stability. It's more in the video stability I'm interested in to see how it's doing, comparing it to the Sigma Contemporary. And if you're that interested, I'll also do a test comparing it to the Canon 100-400 Mark II. Which is at 300mm. As you can see, it seems to be doing a reasonable good job, but we'll find out when we do the video to see if it's any good. Okay, 600mm on the Contemporary EOS R. So we're testing the image stabilization, or the optical stabilizer as Sigma call it. We're at 600mm, and I'm going to try and see how it does by pulling focus. At 600mm, I'm trying to keep it steady, just seeing how it does. In the viewfinder it looks quite jerky, but it may be not so, you know, if we just see how it does. So that's the image stabilization video test during daylight. Okay, 600mm on the Tamron G2 lens. Checking stability, stabilization, and also checking to see how well it does with the VC stability. This is on the EOS R. I'm testing focus as well as stability, seeing how it's doing. It does get tiring holding a beast of a lens like this for long periods of time, but we're testing the stability. On the EOS R. Okay, we're on a tripod testing the stabilizer on the Sigma 150 Contemporary to 600 lens. We're on a tripod. We're on the EOS R. We're going to test out the autofocus performance as well as the optical stabilizer. So let's just see how that does. 150mm, remember? On a tripod it's not too bad. If you're wondering what sort of tripod we're using a Manfrotto tripod with a video head on there. So it is giving us some smooth video. Right, we're on a tripod on the Tamron G2 lens now on the EOS R. This is 150mm full frame, and we're just going to check what it's like on a tripod. Manfrotto tripod with Manfrotto video head, so transition should be smooth, and this will probably give you about an idea in terms of how the autofocus performs, as well as the VC, vibration, compensation, basically it's a stabiliser, and we'll see how that performs in video. So let's just see how it does. Now the sun has come out, so it has changed things a little bit, but hopefully that won't affect the results of the test. Seems to be doing a reasonable good job. Okay, so again the Sigma Contemporary 150 to 600. We're on a tripod again at 300mm on the EOS R. So we're just going to have a look at how it performs. Autofocus. If you're wondering, have we got any sort of limiter set? No, we haven't. We're probably about 8 meters away and about 3.5 to 4 meters nearest point. Again, it's a video head, so obviously it is quite smooth using this Manfrotto video head. So I'd probably recommend using a tripod if you're doing any sort of video work with this lens, because it is not easy to handhold at all. Fucking got a rain in it. Okay, on the Tamron G2 lens, 300mm on the EOS R, we're doing another VC stabilisation test on the tripod, so let's just see how that does. Again, I'm seeing some hunting going on. Remember, this is out of the box. We haven't actually modified or added any firmware on these tests at all on either lens. So I'm actually waiting for the Tamron tap to turn up. Hopefully we'll have that by the end of the week, and hopefully that will improve things with this lens. Because what I am finding is focus is hunting quite a bit. I would say the Contemporary, the Sigma lens, is doing a little bit better than the Tamron for autofocus speed, especially when it comes to photography and pictures. So it's possible that a test I did in the past, there was a problem with the firmware possibly, and that's why, because obviously a lot of people have commented and said I need to configure it using the dock. So we'll have a look at that and see if there was something I did incorrectly on that test. That's why I decided to get the Contemporary again and have another look at it. But looking at this, it's doing alright at 300mm on full frame. Okay, on the Contemporary Sigma lens, optical stabilised at 600mm on the EOS R. This is another test to see how the OS is doing in video, to see how the stabilizer performs. We are on a tripod again, so let's just have a look and see how it performs with the autofocus as well as the stabilizer. But because we are using a video head, transition is quite smooth, as you can see. But I must admit, focus is not super snappy. As you can see, it is taking some time to lock on from near to far. Again, it's losing focus. Just keep going to see how it performs. But this is a good test from near to far to see how it performs. And it may be just a matter of practice with the EOS R's focus points, because obviously there are many on there. But I would recommend using a tripod whenever possible on this particular lens. That's when it locks on. It does seem to go out of focus sometimes and hunts a little bit. Okay, so we're doing another test using the G2 Tamron lens on the EOS R full frame. I'm going to check out how the VC does on a tripod. So again, we're just going to test it out and see how it does. We are getting some hunting going on. Just seem out of the box though, the Sigma Contemporary is actually doing better. But we'll hopefully be able to update the firmware on both lenses and see if there is a marked improvement with an update. But at the moment we're just checking them out of the box to see if there's something between these lenses, and then hopefully I'll decide which one I would prefer to keep.